Welcome to Eternal Vault, your destination for deep explorations into science, technology, history, and the future of humanity. Today we dive into a subject as fascinating as it is controversial: China's pregnancy robot, artificial wombs, and what this means for the future of birth. For millennia, childbirth has been considered one of the most natural and sacred processes tied to women's bodies. From fertility goddesses to modern hospitals, birth has always been inseparable from the human body, until today. China now says it is building a pregnancy robot with an artificial womb capable of developing human embryos outside the female body. This is more than a biotech step. It could be a turning point in human civilization. We will go step by step: the science, the global race, China's approach, and the ethical, social, and cultural consequences. But before we rush to judgment, let us slow down and understand the full picture. For most of history, childbirth was unpredictable. Infant mortality high, mothers at constant risk. In civilizations like Egypt, Mesopotamia, and India, childbirth was surrounded by rituals, prayers, and midwifery. The Greeks sometimes viewed the womb as mystical, even believing in notions like the wandering womb. In medieval Europe, maternal death was tragically common. Childbirth was both a gift and a danger. It was only in the 19th and 20th centuries that medicine made childbirth significantly safer. Antiseptics, anesthesia, and cesarean sections transformed the experience. Yet birth remained inseparable from the female body. That unbroken chain from conception to cradle is what artificial womb technology now threatens to disrupt. To assess that threat, we first need to trace the science that made today's ideas possible. The idea of growing embryos outside the womb is not new. Scientists have experimented for decades, first in animals. From incubators to neonatal care, researchers asked whether a full external womb could ever exist. The rise of IVF in the 1990s showed life could begin outside the body. But could it develop entirely outside? Research advanced slowly, combining embryology, neonatology, fluid dynamics, and material science. In 2017, American scientists unveiled the BioBag, a plastic chamber filled with artificial amniotic fluid for lamb fetuses. Lambs placed in BioBags survived, matured lungs, gained weight, and emerged healthier than expected. A proof of concept. The BioBag simulated oxygen, nutrients, waste removal, and a protective fluid environment, core principles for artificial gestation. Since then, research in Japan, the Netherlands, and the US accelerated, exploring longer-term development outside the womb. The next step: integrate robotics, AI, and monitoring to not only sustain life, but optimize development. Engineered umbilical systems, nutrient control, and closed-loop sensors bring the promise of precise fetal care. Researchers now argue, with sufficient control and monitoring, we could replace some or all functions of the natural womb. That promise opens powerful medical possibilities, and equally powerful ethical questions. In 2023, reports emerged that China's Kaiwa technology, via Ectolife, was developing a humanoid pregnancy robot with an artificial womb. Unlike prior lab bags, this system would host the womb inside a robot that monitors, regulates, and optimizes fetal growth with AI. Inside is a transparent sac of artificial amniotic fluid. The embryo connects via an engineered umbilical circuit. Nutrients and oxygen flow through an artificial umbilical, while waste is removed, mimicking natural physiology. External computers monitor heartbeat, movement, and milestones, alerting doctors or parents to anomalies instantly. The promise: continuous, data-driven care that can intervene earlier than human detection allows. The company claimed a prototype by 2026, priced around 12 lakh rupees, roughly $14,000. China's step matters because of three strengths: scale and ambition, policy needs, and global competition. First, China has a history of pushing ambitious biotech projects, from gene editing to large-scale IVF programs. Second, declining birth rates and bans on surrogacy create policy incentives for alternative reproductive technologies. Third, by commercializing robotic artificial wombs, China could move from lab theory to real-world application faster than others. If mass-produced and affordable, the tech could scale beyond clinics into broader social use. To many infertile couples, especially where surrogacy is illegal, this could be life-changing. But the medical promise sits alongside harder questions about control, access, and cultural meaning. In China, the stakes are political as well as scientific. Demographic strategy meets corporate tech ambition. This convergence makes China a focal point in the global race for artificial gestation technology. First, artificial wombs promise solutions for infertility. Nearly 15% of couples globally are affected. Where surrogacy is banned, artificial wombs could provide a path to biological parenthood. Second, medical safety. Pregnancy and childbirth remain dangerous. Roughly 800 women die daily from preventable complications. An artificial womb could eliminate risks like preeclampsia, hemorrhage, or other pregnancy complications. Third, scientific control. Continuous monitoring allows earlier intervention and unprecedented data collection on fetal development. That data could transform neonatal care and developmental biology. Fourth, equality debate. Some see this as freeing women from pregnancy's biological burden and moving toward reproductive equality. Others worry it may commodify reproduction or erase the unique role of gestation. If expensive, artificial wombs risk deepening inequality, making machine-born children a privilege of the affluent. These medical benefits collide with social and moral risks, a tension we will explore next. Beyond mechanics lie deeper questions about birth, motherhood, and what it means to be human. Philosophers have long debated nature versus technology. Aristotle to modern thinkers who ask whether tech liberates or enslaves. If a child is born from a machine, does that change identity? Or do we simply broaden our definition of human life? Some feminists argue artificial wombs free women from the burden of pregnancy, a path to greater equality. Others fear this could remove the unique social and emotional role of gestation, or hand reproductive power to corporations and states. Culture shapes meaning. In India, motherhood is tied to religious symbolism, goddesses, family honor, and sacred bonds. In China, Confucian traditions emphasize family lineage and filial duty. Preserving bloodlines is central. In the West, debates split along choice and autonomy versus conservative defense of natural family structures. Religions will interpret artificial gestation differently. Some may call it playing God, others may frame it as human ingenuity. Law must catch up. Artificial wombs raise immediate legal questions about parenthood and child rights. Who is the legal mother, the egg donor, the commissioning parent, or the operator of the artificial womb? How do we guarantee child rights and status from conception or birth? Current laws are ambiguous at best. Should states restrict artificial wombs to medical use or allow open commercialization? The risk of commodification is high. If only the wealthy can afford them, we risk a bifurcated society, machine-born versus naturally born children. In countries with strong state control, the danger includes demographic engineering and surveillance over reproductive choices. What we decide now, via law, culture, and public debate, will determine whether technology empowers or controls. Artificial wombs are a global race. Whoever leads may influence the future of reproduction worldwide. The US pioneered devices like the biobag, but ethical divides slow policy progress and public adoption. Europe invests in research with a strong emphasis on bioethics and human rights guardrails. Japan faces severe demographic decline and is exploring artificial gestation, but cultural acceptance is uncertain. India stands at a crossroads, rich reproductive tech infrastructure versus deep cultural reverence for motherhood. Could India become a center for affordable artificial womb services, or will cultural norms and law block it? China's advantages: centralized decision-making, demographic pressure, and integration of AI, biotech, and robotics. If China scales production, it could export technology and shape global norms around artificial gestation. Expect mixed reactions. Western critics may condemn ethics while accelerating their own programs in private. Developing nations could see this as elitist and inaccessible, widening global healthcare divides. Corporations may push commercialization, marketing artificial gestation as a premium health service. The result could be a new global divide, societies that embrace machine-born children and those that reject them. Scenario 1. Medical miracle. Artificial wombs become standard, saving premature babies and reducing maternal deaths. Scenario 2. Liberation and equality. Pregnancy becomes optional, enabling new forms of parental equality. Scenario 3. Elite privilege. The wealthy monopolize machine birth, creating a new class divide. Scenario 4. State control. Authoritarian governments use artificial wombs for demographic engineering. Scenario 5. Post-human evolution. Combined with genetic engineering, this could usher a new phase of human reproduction. At the heart of all scenarios lies one question: what does it mean to be human? Science fiction has long warned of these futures. Once fiction, now a real debate in our labs and legislatures. Whether artificial wombs become tools of freedom or chains of control will depend on law, culture, and our collective choices. This is not just about machines giving birth, It is about our values, our future, and the kind of humanity we choose to build. Thank you for staying with us on Infinite Archive. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep imagining.